Ladies and gentlemen, growth in the spiritual life is often less about gaining and more about letting go. It is a journey marked by subtle, deliberate relinquishments, a gradual unburdening of the soul to ascend toward the eternal. For those who earnestly seek a deeper connection with the divine, the path is not one of hurried acquisition but of thoughtful surrender. To be highly spiritual is not to have mastered this process entirely, but to have committed oneself to it faithfully. Such individuals recognize that spiritual maturity is less about what they accumulate and more about what they quit, what habits, attitudes, and attachments they slowly but surely lay down to make room for the fullness of life in the spirit. Today, I invite you to reflect on 6 things that highly spiritual people quit slowly. These are not the obvious vices that all of us strive to abandon: dishonesty, selfishness, cruelty, but the more subtle burdens of the heart and mind that hinder our progress toward the eternal. Let us examine each in turn, for in understanding what we must relinquish, we come closer to understanding the freedom and joy that awaits on the other side. 1. The need for control. The first thing highly spiritual people quit is the need for control. At the heart of much human striving lies an intense desire to control our circumstances, our relationships, and even our futures. We convince ourselves that if we can just orchestrate everything perfectly, we will find peace. Yet, the harder we grasp, the more elusive peace becomes. Highly spiritual individuals come to understand that control is an illusion. Life, with all its unpredictability and complexity, cannot be bent entirely to our will. More importantly, they recognize that true peace is not found in controlling life, but in trusting the one who holds life in his hands. This surrender does not happen overnight. It is a slow and sometimes painful process, requiring us to confront our fears and relinquish our illusions of power. Yet, as we let go of the need for control, we find a deeper freedom, a freedom to live fully in the present, trusting that the one who guides us is both good and sovereign. 2. The desire for approval. The second thing highly spiritual people quit is the desire for approval. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek validation from others. We crave affirmation, fearing that, without it, we are somehow less valuable. Yet the pursuit of approval is a wearying endeavor, for the standards of human praise are fickle and ever-changing. Those who walk the spiritual path come to see the futility of this pursuit. They realize that their worth is not determined by the opinions of others, but by the eternal truth of their identity as beloved children of the divine. Slowly, they begin to let go of the need for external validation, choosing instead to anchor their sense of worth in the unchanging love of their Creator. This does not mean they become indifferent to others' opinions or unresponsive to constructive feedback. Rather, they cease to allow the approval or disapproval of others to dictate their sense of self. In doing so, they find a quiet confidence, a peace that comes from knowing they are deeply loved, regardless of human opinion. 3. The pursuit of perfection. The third thing highly spiritual people quit is the pursuit of perfection. Perfectionism is a subtle but insidious trap. It masquerades as virtue, convincing us that we must always do more, be more, and achieve more to be worthy. Yet perfectionism is rooted not in excellence, but in fear of failure, fear of inadequacy, fear of not being enough. Spiritual growth requires us to confront this fear and to accept the reality of our imperfections. Highly spiritual people understand that perfection is not the goal, transformation is. They recognize that the journey of faith is not about achieving flawlessness, but about becoming more fully aligned with the heart and will of God. This shift in perspective allows them to embrace their limitations with humility and grace. They learn to see failure not as a condemnation, but as an opportunity for growth. And in letting go of the pursuit of perfection, they find the freedom to live authentically, trusting that the one who began a good work in them will bring it to completion in his time. 4. The clinging to resentment. The fourth thing highly spiritual people quit is the clinging to resentment. Resentment is a heavy burden to bear. It binds us to the past, preventing us from moving forward. It poisons our relationships, eroding trust and compassion, and most tragically, it closes our hearts to the grace and forgiveness that we ourselves so desperately need. Highly spiritual individuals understand that resentment is not a weapon against others, it is a chain that binds the one who holds it. Slowly but surely they learn to release this chain, choosing forgiveness over bitterness, compassion over anger. This release is not easy. Forgiveness often requires us to confront deep wounds and to relinquish the desire for vengeance or vindication. Yet in doing so, we find a profound freedom, a freedom that allows us to love more fully, to live more lightly, and to experience the grace of God in new and transformative ways. 5. The fear of the unknown. The fifth thing highly spiritual people quit is the fear of the unknown. Life is full of uncertainties. The future is a vast, uncharted territory filled with both possibility and peril. For many, the fear of the unknown is paralyzing, leading us to cling to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves us. Highly spiritual individuals, however, learn to see the unknown not as a threat, but as an invitation. They understand that faith is not the absence of uncertainty, but the courage to trust in the midst of it. Slowly they let go of their fear, choosing instead to step forward with hope and trust, knowing that the one who leads them is faithful. This trust does not eliminate all fear, but it transforms it. It allows them to embrace the adventure of life with an open heart, confident that whatever lies ahead, they are never alone. 6. The attachment to the temporary. The sixth and final thing highly spiritual people quit is the attachment to the temporary. In a world that values material success and instant gratification, it is easy to become attached to things that are fleeting possessions, achievements, even relationships. While these can bring joy and fulfillment, they are not the source of ultimate meaning. Highly spiritual individuals come to understand that the things of this world are but shadows of a greater reality. Slowly they begin to loosen their grip on the temporary, choosing instead to invest their hearts in what is eternal. This does not mean they reject the joys of the present or disengage from the world. Rather, it means they hold these joys lightly, recognizing them as gifts rather than goals. In doing so, they free themselves to live with greater gratitude, generosity, and purpose, knowing that their true treasure lies beyond this life. The spiritual life is a journey of surrender, a gradual letting go of the things that weigh us down, that keep us from fully embracing the life to which we are called. Highly spiritual people are not those who have quit these burdens all at once, but those who have committed to quitting them slowly, faithfully, and with grace. As we reflect on these 6 things, the need for control, the desire for approval, the pursuit of perfection, the clinging to resentment, the fear of the unknown, and the attachment to the temporary, may we be inspired to take our own steps of surrender. For in letting go, we make room for the fullness of life in the spirit, a life marked by freedom, peace, and the deep joy of knowing that we are loved beyond measure. Let us then embrace this journey of surrender, trusting that in relinquishing these burdens, we will find the abundant life for which we were created.